No excuses with Michael DiLeonardo. I'm your host, RJ Roger. Michael, we're live on Patreon and on YouTube. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. This technology, boy. I thought it's supposed to get better with technology. Get worse. Everything works bad. Well, sorry for the little delay. We were having a little technical difficulties on my side this time.
Yeah, the problem is that the more people that are using technology, the slower everything becomes. So that's kind of the problem.
Sounds like an
So
oxymoron of some type. I got to know. What's the word for that?
yeah,
The more or less.
yeah. How you been, brother? How's your
Good.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, everything was great. Yeah, we did that little thing on Thanksgiving. It was pretty nice. And I couldn't wait for Sunday to do this one. Get everybody inclusive.
Yeah. Um. So, guys, real quick, we don't get a chance to do a lot of lives on on here. Um. So we do a live though once a week on Patreon. So I can't encourage you guys enough. It's $9.99 a month, but Michael gives out unprecedented access. Anybody that is on our Patreon can tell you that Michael is highly. He communicates with everybody. He responds back to every single comment. Um, and we bring people on. We do special lives where you can come on. You can talk on air with Michael. We make phone calls. We do a lot. So we get so many questions coming in to the point I had them put on our subscriber only mode today for the comment section because it's just so many that come through that we try to prioritize the people who are subscribers and the people who are Patreon members. So if you want questions answered and things like that, can't encourage you enough. Come on over. We'll call you. We'll communicate with you. We answer every private message, email, everything. So I will drop a link in that you guys can come on. I'll drop a link to Patreon if you guys are interested in subscribing. If you don't have money, email the show. We do 30-day sponsorships, and if you can't continue after 30 days, we'll just reach out. We'll try and work with you the best we can. So, anything you want to add to that, Michael?
Yeah, it's more of a club that we have, especially when you start getting tens of thousands of people that want to come on. I think they deserve first priority who takes the time out to come on here instead of somebody who comes on randomly. They can watch if they like it, then they can subscribe to us. They have the opportunity to subscribe, but the people we have long time subscribers since first day on YouTube. So I think that if they need to ask a question and then they need an answer for it, and we have the time to go through everybody, sure. Well, I think they deserve a first crack at us asking these questions.
Um, all right, let's jump into the show. Guys, if you have some questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Try to drop them down so that we can get as many questions as we can answered. We put up 2 shows. We'll answer any questions that have to do with the past 2 releases. Pete Gotti, it was some stuff on. We did the Pete Gotti Construction Union show, and we did the and a show about the Lucchese's looking for Junior's routines. So, any questions you have, feel free to drop them in. Michael, real quick, I want to pop something up on the screen here because this picture was I really like this picture. And, Jimmy Brown, there's not a whole lot about Jimmy Brown that's even out there. And let alone the biggest thing, though, is there ain't many photographs of Jimmy Brown. And you shared a private photo with me. It was shared on Patreon, and I'm going to share it with everyone who we have on here. Let me just find a way to share it. Here we go. Can you see it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this is a really great photo of Jimmy Brown, and you're in it.
Yeah.
Who are these people? Where were you at? Yeah, this is the kind of Michael. I keep telling you, because I know I keep trying to push you to do a story on your life and do a book. You share so many exclusive photos with all these people. We got Michael has boxes, guys. I've been privy to it. I saw a picture of Salvatore Dagbola. Nice pictures of him. Stuff you guys never saw. He has boxes of pictures of him and Junior and all these guys from the time he was a kid all the way up, and he shares a lot of them on Patreon. So, and I always tell Michael, when you do a book one day, you're gonna lose a lot of money because all these photos you can sell to a publisher. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the people that come on Patreon really deserve a little bit extra than anybody else to see things that were not out in the domain, the public domain. And this is a more private picture. It's at a wedding. The fellow on the left, his name's Frankie with the tuxedo and the white shirt. He was getting married that day. He was cousins with the guy in the middle, which is Lou Mariani, Louis Black. I knew him since 16 years old. I baptized two of his kids. He baptized my son, Michael. We were very, very close at that time. The one in the middle between Frankie and Louis was Frank Mariconda, who was murdered by Lucchese family over a girl. Frankie was put with me by Frankie DiCicco. Matter of fact, Frankie DiCicco put 3 Frankies with me. His nephew Frankie, this Frankie, and his cousin Frank Fabiano. I had 3 different Franks with me at different times over the years that Frank DiCicco put me to handle. And at certain times, I wasn't even a wise guy when he gave me these. But Frank Mariconda is a sad story. I could talk a little bit about Frankie. He was very close to my brother-in-law, very close to some other people in the neighborhood that were captains in the family, in different families. Had a big drug problem. That was his demise. I knew his mother, father very, very well, his sister. Good guy when he was straight, but when he started putting that stuff up his nose, a different person came out. And he paid the price. He lost his life for it. He paid the price for hitting on somebody's girl. And she came up and he got banged out on the sneak. Then you got Louis Black, like I said, I knew since 16 years old. He invited me to this wedding. And because I knew Frankie, his cousin Frank, we used to play football in Dyker Park way back in the 70s, early to mid 70s. Well, early 70s, really, we started. And he invited me, and he was the best man. And he says, "You want to go?" He said, "Frankie, I'd love to have you." He said, "Yeah, of course I'll go." I said, "You got to wear a tuxedo, no?" He says, "Yeah." That's why I got 3 tuxedos in my closet. I'll pull one out. I'll wear one with you. I was not in the bridal party. But I like to dress up a little bit. So to make Louis feel a little comfortable, I threw a tuxedo on. And then there's Jimmy Brown. Jimmy Brown was somehow involved with that family. I don't know who's alive, so I'll leave it alone. And Jimmy was a real good guy. At that time, I got along with Jimmy. He was a stalwart in the Gambino family. Could have been boss. And it was a surprise to see him there. I didn't know he was going to be there. So when we're hanging around, the photographer walked off. I said, "Well, how about a picture?" He goes, "Yeah, come on, kid." He used to call everybody's younger, kid. Even if Frankie DiCicco was kid to him, he would call him kid. "Come on, kid, we'll take a picture together." And he got up and indulged us. And who knew at that time what this picture was going to be? A part of history now. Because you're right, there aren't too many intimate pictures of Jimmy Brown or a lot of wise guys circulating the internet. There are people coming out. RJ, if you checked our email, we got about 6 or more photos. Some are in the domain that were seen very little, and then there's others that are private. We could put them up on Patreon. It was from Tyler, one of our Patreon members, a YouTube member, of course, and he shared some. So these things are, like I said, when I look at this picture, it's a throwback to great times of my life. And when I first seen it again, when I pulled it out years ago, I had a big smile on my face. And then the smile turned to a little melancholy-ness because I remember those times and remember what position I am in today. So, this brings back fond memories. And Jimmy Brown is a person that is spoken about but the magnitude of this guy's intelligence, power, know-it-all with the Garbage Association, with every family. If you listen to the Ducks tapes, Tony Ducks from the Lucchese family, and the Tony Salerno tapes from the West Side, there's a correlation of guys like almost saying they got to go see this pain in the ass Jimmy Brown. That's how good he was at sit-downs. So he left his mark on the Gambino family and the mob, and should be called out for it, shouted out for it, I should say, on who and what he is and was. He died in jail in the 90s for the Spinelli murder through Gravano's testimony. Never got a chance to come home. And we'll do a little bit more on Jimmy Brown later on, but just to put this picture in context of where we was, I wasn't made here. So that's how far it goes back.
Did you and him ever work out any of your differences, or you think he went into the grave? That motherfucking Michael.
Yeah, he was pissed off because I was a Bensonhurst guy. He knew me when I was born. My mother used to work for him in the shop, dress shop that he had with Tato. They were part of the dress shop at one time. And my mother was a seamstress there. And my father knows him. My father's a little older than him. He knew Jimmy. What do you call it? Yeah. So, no, we never really worked it out. Jimmy was an unforgiving type guy. He loved young guys. Then he had to kill his adopted son, he murdered his adopted son. He had him murdered. And he started to lose his feelings for young guys. He started to get a little bitter, a lot bitter, should you say, a little bitter, towards the younger guys' resentment. And a whole story I could do another day on that. It's been unsolved, that murder. So I could probably lay at the feet of the Bellattis, because that's about all Paul would have trusted to do a hit like that.
Who's this?
That's me.
Who's the other guy?
This is a video. You want to lead up? You want to tell them about this video?
So now I can't. I don't have the video loaded, so I can't. The video is uploaded on Patreon. So this was a football game. Was it Queens versus Brooklyn?
Yeah, Beth Avenue kids.
Okay.
My friend Joe Canarino, standing there, number 40. His father was Baldy Dom, captain around Chin, extremely close to Chin. Joey's godfather was Chin. And Joey, I know since we were kids also. One of the funniest guys you want to meet. We had a lot of laughs. He's probably breaking my chops about something right there, the way he's looking at me. Really good guy. And big gambler. I got some great gambling stories about him and I. Today they're funny. At the time they weren't funny, but then they got funny. We laughed about it. But a really good guy, great ball player. He had a cannon of an arm. He used to be the catcher, now the softball team. A cannon. So, but a really good guy.
Yeah, so there's a full football game. I might have discussed it before. I don't know, but there's is it two-hand touch or flag? What was it?
No flag. We don't play flag. That pull the flag out of the pocket. Come on.
So there's a full football game.
Two-hand touch like this and two-hand touch like this. As hard as you can hit somebody, you did it. And sometimes when you really didn't like somebody, those two hands where you're supposed to just touch them somewhere in their body, the elbow just started to creep in, and they wanted an elbow somewhere.
Junior scored all the touchdowns because everyone was afraid to touch the acting boss.
Not true. Not true. We nailed him too. He was good that way, and so was I. Was a captain here, and those rules were all put on the side. Everybody was respectful, but you came there to play football, and football is a game of contact. So it was none of that. Oh my God, I can't hit Junior, or I can't hit Michael. There's other wise guys in this film also. So we had a great time. It was a great night. It was filmed out in Long Island in a bubble. You see the date on there, it was September. And it was filmed by I had a film crew. So an amateur film crew at that. But I'll leave that alone right now. Down the road, we'll film that blank on Patreon.
Maybe because there's some recent news going around on him. Someone said, "What's your thoughts on Jackie Nose today?"
Well, there was an article that he was in Sicily in August, I believe, right? Was it August? I think it was August.
I can't confirm. I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw the headlines of it. I don't know that I would subscribe to it being true or not. But yes, there was stuff going around where people were suggesting that he was, yeah, meeting with people or something.
Well, that's all I know. I'm a little annoyed with Jackie right now because she could have brought me back a rice bowl of Argentina from the Palermo market. No, but if he did go, I'd be extremely happy for him because Jackie loves his Sicilian roots. He's a Palermitana. I know there's things on the internet that says he's not from Palermo. He's not even Sicilian, but he's a Sicilian, no question. Um, and if he went back to Sicily for whatever reason, I'm sure he had a good time, made people laugh there. Jackie's got a hell of a personality. He interacts great with everybody. You can't get mad at Jackie about anything. So I know he fulfilled the dream because as far as when I knew him, he never went to Sicily. He went to Europe way before me, I think in the early 70s. Because I met Jackie probably around 73, 74-ish. So earlier than that, in the 60s, he was in Italy. But I don't know if he made Sicily.
Jimmy Brown conspired with the Lucchese's after John Sr. went to prison. He was behind Lino and Borriello. How do you respond to that?
No, it wasn't after John went to prison. It was before. It was right after Paul got killed. The theory is that Chin had an emissary, and I believe it was Mickey Gambino, who was in contact with Danny Merlino and Jimmy Brown about the sitting back, and we're going to handle this. We're going to take out all the conspirators. So yes, you are right. It did continue after John went away, but it started way before that. The seeds of deceit were planted way before. You're loading up a question. I see you.
No, I just, the fact that I sometimes wonder why he wasn't on that list and get rid of him too. I know he was just because he was so close with Paul. Remember, he was one of the guys at Sparks that night. Jimmy was at the table waiting on Paul to pull up. He was one.
34. Table 34.
I sat there. But he was one of the guys there. He was very close with Paul. He was a guy that he was an old timer, goes back a long way, and he knew. And John didn't really fancy. Would you say John didn't really care for him a whole lot? Respected what he did for the life, but not necessarily a guy that John trusted.
Right. He trusted him to an extent. He had him on the committee from the first day. Don't forget. After John went away, he was on the committee because he needed to be a very influential guy with other families, an elder statesman, but still John was wary of it.
Jimmy Brown and Ali Shades ran the whole garbage business.
Yeah, throwing Avelino too. What case you got? Yeah, they had the Garbage Association. It was downtown on John Street in Manhattan. I was in there only a couple of times in the association. One to get yelled at and one to say hello. But they were very, very close. And before Ali, there was other guys in there that Jimmy dealt with, of course. Ali came on later on and got pinched for the association stuff, for toxic waste and all that stuff.
If Sammy wasn't so involved in the hit on Paul, do you think John still would have elevated him to the administration?
That's a good question. His proximity to Frankie DiCicco and rewarding the Brooklyn faction and Sammy's crew, how strong he was and all the work he did. Yeah, he still might have snuck in there. Absolutely, in administration. Yeah.
Did you know or do any business with Barty Longo?
Alan's still alive, I hope. Yeah, Alan's a really good guy. Yeah, we did a couple of things here and there. But Alan was a guy. Alan was the degenerate gambler like me at the time. We used to meet in pastels and have a couple of drinks and complain about how we lost what game and what Shylocks we were going to go borrow money from. And Alan was a ladies guy, a ladies man. Also, very good with the ladies and classy guy, classy dresser. And Alan and I had a lot in common. We drank many nights at the bar.
This is one guy I wish that there was more information on, but I want to ask this question. If Gene was still on the street when John Sr. went away, do you 100% think that Gene would have become the boss? If so, do you think the family would have been happy with that?
Oh, Genie would definitely. If Genie didn't go away, 100%, no question. Would the family have been happy about it? Probably not. Like they weren't happy about John. I'm not saying the whole family, everybody. There was that underlying that, like the Jimmy Browns. They weren't happy about Paul getting killed. All those old timers. Now, would Genie have kept those clubs open like that? No way. Genie didn't like going to the Raven Night. He couldn't wait to run out of there. When he showed up, he couldn't wait him and Johnny Kennedy couldn't wait to get out of there. They wanted to go about their lives. They were guys that like to go out and have a good time. They're young guys. They still wanted to go out and have a good time. They didn't want to sit around a social club. So I think Genie would have just definitely made that step back with the clubs and the exposure.
Like Gene, Pete, Gotti, you said like they all were. I mean, John, Gene, Pete, just all three vastly different personalities, or was Gene kind of similar in that, John had this very domineering personality, very upfront, hard, don't back up for nothing. Was Gene kind of more like that, or was he just kind of like? I mean, I know Pete. You talk about Pete, but we don't know much about Gene's personality.
And what about Richie and Vinny later on? You got two other brothers that were straightened out too, right? Gene was more of a laid back guy like that. He wasn't like his brother John. And again, Pete's dead. Way smarter, knew the life more than Pete, and did command a lot of different type of respect, fear factor respect, and intelligence respect. Now, with the drug business, because that's the if factor. If he don't go away, that means he wasn't pitched for the drugs. So that's a whole other conversation. But Genie wouldn't have been a bad boss. I don't think Genie would have been a bad boss. He was another fun. He was a young, like I said, he was a young-minded guy. He understood it. He understood the street for sure, and he understood what it took to go out and try to earn a living and do work. Guy was working.
John Gotti knew the rule that only the commission can approve. John Gotti knew the rule that only the commission can approve killing a boss. Why didn't he do that when having Paul killed? Is it possible, I think, that there may have been less killings?
Oh, yeah. If you don't kill Paul, the whole world is different. I without a doubt. Who knows if it would have been, my opinion would have been much better if he never killed Paul. Because you could see what happened, the scorched earth, the bodies that were left in the street, the turmoil the family was left in, John ultimately losing his freedom and his life, and Frankie DeChico losing his life, Eddie Lino, Borriello. We could keep going on the devastation of killing Paul. Nobody can ever say, I would challenge anybody to tell me how that was a good move, what John did in hindsight, Monday morning quarterbacking, that John did a good thing. It was the worst thing he could have done. Devastated himself and his whole family, and the Gambino family, and at that. So yeah, he never should have killed Paul. Bad thing.
And your theory is Paul goes to jail in the commission case, like everybody else. Everyone knew they were going down. You say John just should sit back and wait on it? Would John, if that would have happened? And even if wouldn't it be more likely if the Chico becomes the boss, not John, in that scenario?
No, I think it could come down. It depends what happens with Paul. Paul was sick. He had diabetes. He was up in age. He wasn't in good health. If he don't flip, I know a lot of people can get mad. It's a possibility. The guy had too much to stay in jail with hundreds of millions. Guys have done it, like Tony Salerno. They died. Ducks died, worth a lot of money, died in prison. There's a lot of guys that did that. But I just feel Paul never would have stood up to it. I really don't think he would have stood up. But that's my opinion. You can push back. That's okay. So I think he may have flipped. But on the other side, if he don't, he may not live that long in prison. He may decline. How long could he last? He has to appoint people out there to run the family. So I think he can't at that point, right? He could appoint, like everybody says, Tommy Gambino, which would have wanted no part of it. I know that. He would have wanted no part of it being up to acting boss or an administration. Tommy Bellotti, Tommy might have got clipped if he pushed back against Frankie and John real hard, or look to get like everybody. The theory is they're going to kill John and his crew. That wasn't going to happen. If Paul's gone, Tommy knew he would have been outnumbered by far. They would have made it known. So I think in time, John would have definitely been the boss. The captains, Frankie would have got the captains together and went to the commission, or whatever the machinations would have been. I think a couple of years after that, John would have been the boss. It would have took a couple of years. It would have been instant, of course. Paul would have got convicted. His appeals would have had to be exhausted, et cetera, et cetera. That takes 2-3 years down the road. And I think in a matter of time, John would have been voted in as the boss.
And you think John could have went to the commission, right?
Yeah, I think they said Frankie. Yeah, say Frankie the Chico and some of the other guys, and John. Yeah, made a case against Paul. Sure.
If John never went away, do you think the Chin would have killed him?
Without a doubt.
Can you elaborate on Detective John Daly and his connections to the Gambino family?
Joe, I got zero clue. I didn't know the guy. Only what's in his Junior's 302, what he delineated to the U.S. Attorney's Office about that. I have no clue about Daly. I know they had big hooks in that precinct. Big time. Sally Reale was one of the main hooks. They always said that Don Peps was a big spot for the Queens District Attorney's Office and a lot of the cops, higher end cops, I should say, not just brass cops that would hang out there. So Sally Reale was with Angela Ruggiero, had major contacts with a couple other guys, not just Sally.
This is one of the questions left under the show. Have you spoken to Junior since you flipped? Do you ever think he was involved in you being shelved? I would love to see an episode on your thoughts and feelings on this.
Yeah. Just quickly, I 100% feel he had no input on me being shelved. I think that was a spontaneous thing after I caught the second case, because it happened real fast. And I don't think they're going to ask him about what they should do with me, because when the new administration was put in place, Richie and Pete told me, Richie went to go see him went to see Junior up in Raybrook, and he asked, when told of a new administration, Junior says, "Where do I fit in?" And they told him, "You're just a captain." His uncles. So I'm sure they were not reporting anything about me to Junior at that time. He was like almost ostracized out of any administrative or decision-making capacity at that time. I'm sure Junior was not happy with that. I know he was not. I know for a fact he wasn't happy with that. So, no, he did not. What was the second part of that question? Have I talked to him? Have I talked? Yeah. No way. Would I talk to him? In a minute. We got some things to sit down, have a drink over, and talk about. But it's not my call. I forgive.
Do you think, and this was a different person, but similar in the same vein question. Do you think you would have been shelved if Junior was on the street and not in prison?
No, I don't think. No way. It's my gumbada. I held Brooklyn down for him. We were his strength with Sammy's crew that I was handling, plus what I had. So
But
there's no way.
at one point, you were running two crews at the same time, weren't you?
Yeah, almost three. Yeah.
And whose crews were they?
Well, this is what happened. After Jimmy goes away, John gives me Danny Marino's crew and Jimmy Brown's crew. And after a week or so, I says, John, plus some other guys that I've gotten. I took Philly Mordecai, I took Joe Brewster with me, and my crew. Officially took him in my crew. I said, John, this don't look right. People are really gonna get angry. You should give this crew to meaning Jimmy Brown's crew to Pete Pachetti, old school. They call him technical Pete for a reason. He's a really technical guy. You know, life, been around forever, and worthy of having an acting captain position. So they jockeyed between Jackie the actor for a little while, and then Pete Pachetti had the crew. So I gave that one up, and I just handled Danny Marino's crew at the time. But in the course of time, as time went on, and not maybe a year or two, Junior put me in charge of all the Brooklyn captains. If they had any serious things they needed to talk about, they had to go through me to get to Junior. This is like towards, I guess, 96-ish, when a lot of heat was coming down. Junior tried to step back a little bit, finally, to sit in the background. And but it was too late. But he had me dealing with the captains in Brooklyn.
Michael, what do you think about Sammy saying that Joey Merlino is a disgrace for Cosa Nostra by going in public and doing a podcast? Now, I don't know that that's true because I didn't hear him say that. So I don't want to say that Sammy said that because I don't know. I haven't heard that. Did you hear that?
No. No, but listen now that is the truth, because it's a fair question. And if it's not true, get the eraser. We got an eraser on here, and YouTube has an eraser. We go like this. What do we do with it? That's great. It's great. Boy. Jack. How can he call anybody disgraziado? He's the biggest. He can't call nobody a disgrace. He can't call anybody anything. So anything that comes out of this guy's mouth, and this is not just an anti-Sammy, it's just, you ratted. He ratted. He can't call nobody disgrace. It just don't even make sense. Sammy is the furthest thing from Cosa Nostra. Sammy's always been the first thing, as we see today, about what he was and who he was involved with Cosa Nostra. He was Cosa Mia going back before the time he even existed. It was about himself. So you see, I get a little, I can get itchy now. Yeah, I guess the blood rushes to my head, and when the blood rushes to your head, you get a little, the blood goes through, you get itchy, I guess. Gotta find out. Anybody out there, a doctor, could tell me about that? Blood pressure and all that stuff. But yeah, no, Jack, it's a good question, and it's probably out there. He probably did say that, something along the lines. You wouldn't be saying if there wasn't some measure of truth to it. But he can't, he has no right. He forfeited every right, like I forfeited any right to criticize people in the street today. We have no right criticizing anybody that rats, anybody who flips, whatever you want to call it. We have no right criticizing people in the street. We can have an opinion, but Joey Merlino is not a disgrace. The guy had, I don't know how many trials. The guy faced life sentences, multiple life sentences, many times, case after case. And I'm not beating Joey's drum here. So, but that's just a fact. Where Gravano flipped before he even went to trial. Because his feelings were hurt. I guess Joey has a little stronger metal than Gravano. Well, just a little bit, right, fellas and ladies?
Did you like Sammy in the 80s?
Yeah, I looked up to him big time. Absolutely. You know, again, being skeptical and tentative around him because he was starting to kill his friends. And, it was troublesome. But I still was very loyal to Sam. I was very close with him and his family, personal family, and his guys. Look, when they killed Fiala, you know whose club they went to after they killed Fiala at the Plaza Suite? I didn't know they could kill him while I would have been there. I went to the Hamptons. I had a little business out in the Hamptons, and they all came to my club. That's where they felt comfortable after they committing that murder. So we were extremely close. Sam used to deal cards at my club just for fun. He'd get bored. He'd close his club up because I had a roaring club at one time. And all Sammy's guys would come there. Stymie would come there and drink. Mike the Bat. Nicky Cowboy was always there drinking. Nicky was a funny guy. I miss Nicky. He was wacky, but didn't deserve to be murdered. Yeah, I'm very close with Sam. And he would come in at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, whenever he come, he'd sit down at the table and start dealing cards, breaking chops, having some laughs. So, yeah, we were extremely close.
Everybody knows what your deference is, even to this day, for Senior Gotti. I think you told me before, at a time, you looked up to Sammy just as much, right? At a time?
Yeah, before I got close with Senior, absolutely. I got close with Senior, later on when I got straightened out, really, in 88. I didn't get close to him. He made me get close to him. You don't get close to anybody when you're the boss. They pick you. You don't pick them. He let me in his world.
Another great show. Michael, can you tell us how close were Sammy and Gaspipe? I heard that Scarpa Sr. was tight with Gaspipe. Was Sammy close to Scarpa Sr. also?
Well, it's interesting. You can take those 3 names and you could just have a war in the cemetery. They filled the cemetery, all 3 guys, right? So it's not even funny. I mean, there's a lot of dead people there. But those 3 names, my God. You just forgot one little one. Roy DeMeo, you could put him in there. But listen to the 3 guys you named. Sammy, serial killer, flipped. Gaspipe, serial killer, flipped. Scarpa, serial killer, flipped. They all have a little bit in common. Kill everybody with the government's permission, or wait till you get arrested and then say, hey, I'm on your team. I killed everybody. I couldn't kill enough because I couldn't get to everybody.
Sammy wished Joey Merlino luck and said maybe they could do things. And then Joey started talking about rats and how he's going to expose corruption. Now Sammy senses that he's a disgrace. Your reaction?
Oh, so Brian, you're right. So there was one show and then Joey retorted, right? Joey came back with something.
I just want to make it clear that I didn't hear it because I don't want to be, because I know how sometimes I don't like, sometimes you comments can come in that don't really reflect. It's happened to me where people will say I said something I didn't say, or you said something you didn't say. So I just want to make that very clear that I did not hear it.
So that's your disclaimer.
That's just a disclaimer because, again, a lot of problems get started because people are telling you something that's being taken as truth that's not truly reflective. But go ahead.
But what Brian's saying there, he heard it on the second. Sammy said he's a disgrace, right?
Yep.
But that's 2 different people who have said that. They probably did see it.
Yep.
Put it up again, please, if you can. Lost it?
I lost it. It's 504 people in the chat, so they go fast.
Okay. So basically, what was it?
So he's saying that at first, Sammy invited him onto the show, and then when Joey, essentially, which we all know, he's announcing the campaign against cooperators and things like that. And now that Joey said that, Sammy's positioning has changed. That's what he's saying.
Okay. Well, I think Joey has a right to critique anybody. I mean, if he don't want Gravano having his name in his mouth, I think Joey has every right to go after Sammy, me, and everybody else. If we if he's not happy with us. The guy just stood up. So Gravano is, of course, on the flip flop, right? Why could if you felt he was a good guy because he threw a rock at you, now why is he a disgrace? I thought he wished him luck. Now he's a disgrace. That's what I mean about this guy. If you do this much to Gravano, all bets off. He comes after you. That's just him his whole life. That's why the rumors and things about him in the street with other things beating people and other rumors that are out there about him go way back. People never said a word because they know how vindictive this guy is. You step on his toe, you may die. So look, in this world, he's not killing anybody. The last person he killed was John Gotti and Frank Licasio from the stand. Those are the last two people he killed with his mouth. So, but anybody like myself, I come on, or anybody critiques him, the guys he bragged about, Don Sicily and Al, right? Oh, that great guy, this guy, do shows together. As soon as they say a little bit about Sammy, he goes off on them. His fantasy is to kill that person. So Joey Merlino went from, yeah, good luck, to you're a disgrace. That's just typical Sammy.
Someone else says that Sammy says, I guess what he's saying is Sammy says Joey should either flip like the rest of us or keep quiet. The thing is, Joey Merlino was not even talking about the mob on his podcast.
Even if he is, that's his business. And he's going to, he's a big boy if he wants to talk about the mob or anything else. But Sammy said he should flip so he could go on YouTube.
Saying that either flip or keep quiet. Pick one. Pick a side.
Oh, that's the great decider. He's telling Joey how to live his life and everybody else. He's pretty good at that. He's a psychological major.
Speaking of Dom Sicily, did you guys know each other on the street?
No. Dom was way after me. I was off the street. Really, I was off the street when I caught my Atlanta case, September 2000. Then I caught the second case June of 2002. So I was really tied up in an Atlanta case for a couple of years. I was on the street a little bit. So, and I think Dom was even after the 2002. I don't know for sure, but I don't think he was around 2002.
Michael, me and you had a great discussion about Anthony Center. Someone said Anthony Center is coming out. What are your thoughts? Is he a good guy? And can you give us I was telling you this, we could do a great dictionary, a book on just good guy, mafia meaning. Because you always say good guy in our life, not society. Explain what good guy means, and is Anthony Center a good guy?
Well, it's profound difference on what society views criminals and criminality of guys like Anthony, or his crimes, and everybody else in that life. You can't take my opinion as well how I view somebody who was in my life, as saying good or bad or indifferent, and then me talk about somebody who's outside my life as good, bad, or indifferent. There's a profound difference. In our life, we okay murders. We approve of murders. Murders, if they happen, it was part of life, even if it was wrong. A guy like Anthony or anybody else that was ordered to go out and murder somebody from a higher up was following orders, just like in the army, in the military, or a cop. Again, the dynamic is different because it's an anti-social behavior, societal behavior is what we're in, any criminal group. So if we say, a guy like Gravano at the time did a lot of work, a guy like John Gotti did a lot of work. At that time, before the little pinches and flipping, you looked up to these guys because they're the guys that rise to the top. They're the guys that have the insight into where you want to be. You want to be them. You want to be in that position. That's why you get involved in this organization. It's not just about money. It's about the hierarchy, you respecting hierarchy and the guy's role. A guy that goes out and commits murders, if he's on one murder or 20, he's following orders. So to us, that guy is not going to a club and just killing people. They ain't taking a girl home and murder, chopping her up. He's being ordered to do it by a higher up. Don't forget, Anthony only gets made later on when he switches out of the Gambino family. He don't get made with us. So most of those crimes are with us as an associate. Listen to a guy like Roy DeMaria and the rest of that crew. So he's following orders. It's something he believes in, that life. So when I say good guy, it means in our life, whether it be a cult, a very bad life, which it is, and you're murdering people, who are we to sanction murders, right? Who do we to take somebody's life? But you belong to this organization. We're not God to take somebody's life. We're not ordering the military, and that's a whole other story. Are they really murdering somebody in the military, or they're protecting the country? Because they're fighting against somebody who's protecting their country, right? So, yeah, that's the good guy in us, in our group. Society views us as bad people, and society is right. We're antisocial. We're out of the society. So when I say good guy, when I met Anthony, I meet him in clubs, we have drinks together. Joey, Patty, and the rest of the guys that would come around. The perfect gentlemen. They're not swinging out in the bar. They don't have to. Nobody's picking on them. They ain't abusing what they are and who they are. That's a tough guy. That's a real guy who don't push his weight around, even though they know he's capable of hurting people on orders. So that's the term of good guy.
And if you say my boss John Gotti, he was a good man, he was a good guy, it's like at least half the chat will say he's not a good guy.
and I respect that because they're looking at a different angle than I am. I hope this clears it up somewhat.
That's why I'm asking you.
RJ, I grew up in a neighborhood like there was a lot of neighborhoods in New York. Just to talk about Cosa Nostra, right? Where people died. And you expect at the end of the summer, there'd be people to be killed. They're waiting for the guys to clean the neighborhood of all the bad guys that were on that list that went too far. And you expected it that somebody was going to get murdered.
Yeah.
So you live with that. It becomes part of your life that somebody's, is probably going to get clipped by the end of the summer. It was that order in somebody's eyes for a good reason or no good reason to die. Mostly with no good reasons to die. There could have been alternatives. But that's not the life. And guys like myself accept that, or you would run away from the life. When they asked Anthony Senta to kill his first guy, did he run away? No. When they asked me to be involved in something, did I run away? No. You accepted that. It's like any acceptance you do. And there's only one way out. Once you start killing people and you say, I quit, you're a major liability in their eyes. You may go, even as an associate. You really have a hard time getting away to say, I'm going to go sell fish on the corner. I quit. You have a murder with them, with other people there. So you become a liability. And what happened to this guy? What's on his mind? Why did he quit? Was he afraid? The cops come to his door, is he going to flip? So, but the good guy term is for guys like Anthony and John Gotti and Sammy Gambino and Gas Pipe, believe it or not, in that life.
I know I bring this point up a lot, but I always say, something I read it in many books. Phil Leonetti broke it down very, very good. In interviews with him, A-Light broke it down pretty good about this theory of being a soldier. That's your part. You swear, to a group of people, and you're out, and you get sent out to do something. It doesn't necessarily mean you enjoy it, you want to do it, but you're taking an order. And I always find that interesting because so many my favorite quote from Leonetti was when he just said, he said it in a very calm voice too, we are from a very different world that you cannot understand. He's trying to, because the interviewer just couldn't. Even when Sammy was talking with Megan Kelly, and she's probably out of everybody that's ever interviewed Sammy, it's like she was the only person that like really tried to like push this guy on some stuff. But even she was saying it like, and that's what he was trying to explain. It's, and you tell me this all the time, Michael. RJ, you can't understand. You just can't understand certain pieces. No matter how many books you read, doesn't matter how much you research this life, there are certain parts of it that you just can't understand. And that's, I guess, to a certain extent, people like Anthony Center and some of these people, because the way you explained him to me, I'm thinking this guy chopped up, killed all these 10 people, and it's like, complete gentleman. Sit down with him. You never even know he ever killed anybody.
Now, look, just think about this. You go into the military, you're trained. What are you trained to do? Play video games. They train you that one day you may be on the battlefield, and they train every soldier, no matter what branch, to kill. The branches that the SEALs, the Green Berets, except Delta Force, as you keep going through, they're more proficient in how they teach you how to kill operationally, right? So you have this in you that one day you may get called to kill a person you don't know. In a mob, you may get called to kill a person you don't know. As a cop, you put a gun on, you go out in the street, right? And you may run into somebody, you may have to kill somebody you don't know. SWAT team, what did SWAT teams train for? They're there to take down somebody if negotiations don't go right or whatever it is, to kill. That's their job. And when they kill strangers. In the mob, you kill people you know, or people you don't know. You just put on something. So what's the end result? For everybody who did that, every branch we just talked about, is taking a life for something you signed up for something you believed in. So again, to say, who are we to take a life? Well, who's anybody to take a life at that point? Why? Where's the justice? It's righteous for you to say you need to take a life? No, you'll be protecting somebody. In our group, we're protecting something. It may not be the right reason again, but reason nonetheless when you join this group. So,
it's far easier to understand, and I've figured this out in my research. In America, in the States, much easier to understand. I mean, much harder to understand. In Sicily, they looked at it truly like a government. Like, this is the government. I always say this. Omerta, that wasn't a thing of the honored society in Sicily. The grandmoms didn't talk. People pushing. It was a Sicilian belief that you don't talk to outsiders. You don't go into Palermo and talk to the statesmen and things like that. If you got a problem, there was a local guy, a local man of honor who was kind of not patrolling, but had authority over certain sections and areas, and you went to him. If you want to start a business and you needed equipment or needed something, you went through him, and he took your issue and he went and made things happen for you. But everybody did not trust outsiders. In not necessarily Italy, I'm saying, but in Sicily, if you go back, they all lived by a similar ideals and value system. Everybody.
Well, I could expound on that. And I'm going to go back to the 60s into the early 70s, and then things started to change. You walk in my neighborhood, like any other strong Italian neighborhood, cop knock on your door, I don't see nothing. What are you talking? I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing. They could have seen the guy get shot right in front of them. The grandmother, the women, they just kept it going, kept it moving. They didn't see anything. Closed their blinds, literally. Close their blinds. Go inside. Come on inside. Come on. You see something? Come on inside. Fight. Come on inside, kids. Let's go. Do whatever you got to do. You could be right. It's like in the Bronxdale. When he takes the kid down to Robert De Niro with the cop, and does he recognize this guy? Recognize that guy? What did he say? You didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
That's the way the neighborhoods were. They knew we were society unto ourselves. I'll steal that from mob archaeologists. So I give them a little credit. But we were a society unto ourselves. And that goes way back to New Orleans with that quarter there, with the movie Vendetta, that everybody get a little glimpse into that mentality. And you didn't talk, even if you were a legitimate person. You went to work, you seen something, see it today. Nothing. Silence. So, later on, the breakup of everything and the different mixture of neighborhoods, it changed. People started calling the cops more, reporting things. So I have a document going back to 1944, 45 about a doctor, Dr. Areola. There was somebody wrote a letter to somebody in the government and said there's this Dr. Areola who's involved with the mafia. I will put it up. All right. And it's pretty interesting that he calls himself the informer, and how he was one of those people that was sickened by the mafia. And there was a doctor, we know him very well, Dr. Areola. Guy should drive Vito Genovese to Atlantic City to those meetings. This guy's real deal. He should have been straightened out. That's how good this guy was. Hung around bosses. And my grandfather was really close with him, very close with him. And I went to the doctor, I never got a bill. My father went to the doctor, never got a bill. That's how close we were, Areola. But the neighbor, he had to write this letter, anonymous letter, giving up Areola. So, very tightly knit.
$5 donation, Michael. Between Joe Watts and Hugh McIntosh, who was more dangerous, more powerful?
The last guy to have his gun in his hand was the most dangerous, as I always say, even if it's your first. And powerful. Mac was very close with Junior Persico. He was like a captain. But through longevity, it has to be Joe Watts. He moved around every family. Somebody posted a picture on the Black Hand Forum, and what a picture with Mickey Gambino and Tony Corona and Joe Watts. Outstanding photo. Whoever got that one, what a photo! Shows how close Joe Watts was with the West Side. And Mickey Gambino was one of those guys that were setting the plot with Jimmy Brown and Danny Marino. It's very interesting.
It's funny you said that because, I find guys who are in the life or former guys from the life, you guys don't play that powerful stuff like the researcher, history guys do. Like you'll hear my history podcaster just be like, he was very powerful. He was the most powerful guy. But you never hear. Franzese was asked about the fear, I think, of someone, maybe Gotti or somebody, and he says, "Look, in this life, if you're given an order, you got to carry it out. We don't look at each other like he's powerful. I'm this. I'm scared because he's this." And I find that in any former guys who were in the life, when they talk, they don't play that this guy's more powerful than that guy. It's just whoever got the gun. That's like what you just said. But the history guys will argue. There's been major debates I've watched on here where two guys are arguing over who's powerful, who was more powerful out of this guy and this guy.
I think the term is convoluted. I think the better term would be influential. When you have proximity to the boss, sure, you have more latitude to do more things. And if you're an emissary of the boss, when you go to a sit down and you carry the boss's words, sure, there's more. It weighs more, carries more credibility because the messages come from the boss. So sometimes when a guy's real like Joe Watts, a non-made man, delivers a message from John Gotti or Paul Castellano or Frank DeChico, right? It carries weight. It's not a matter of being more powerful. There's no scale of power in my eyes. It's who has more influence at that time. Because Al Capone, how powerful was he? John Gotti, how powerful? You could go through thousands of names. They were powerful at one point. Paul Castellano was more powerful then. What happened to him? They don't. Nobody says, "Oh, we can't shoot. Those bullets are going to go into Paul and Tommy because he's too powerful." The last guy with the gun.
Yeah.
So, there were a lot. RJ, if they want to say who's more powerful or not, that's fine. But I think the word they should be using is who was more influential at that moment in time.
Is there a possibility of you going on your podcast?
Hey, if he gives me an invitation, I'll show up. I'll even buy him lunch.
Michael, can you touch on the Cavalcanti activities, relationships with the 5 boroughs during your time? Great content, gentlemen.
Yeah. CC. I call you CC because that's a lot of words to say there. Long words to say, those 2 words. CC.
Oh, I'm sorry. And he gave a $5 donation, and the person before gave a $2 donation. Thank you.
Yeah. At one point, John told the Jersey faction, stop picking guys from the city and straightening them out in New Jersey. So they listened and they couldn't take anybody from the boroughs. He said, stay in New Jersey, go straighten out guys from New Jersey. So that was our relationship. It was very close. I met the Jersey guys as my tenure turned into a more structured position with construction and everything else. My influence, my sphere of influence, I dealt with the Jersey guys, all good guys at that time, and with construction, the Alessi's, and a whole host of guys over there. Jake, the past. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say. Philly Abramo was a great guy. Great guy. I met him in prison when I was waiting for trial in the second case. A real man's man. Brilliant guy. We went to the library. We studied law and looked at laws and stuff, trying to work out our cases. And I was very impressed with Phil, his intelligence. Yeah, they're all good guys. Yeah, there's 4 guys that flipped there, of course, but they were forced. Everybody sells them short of being a violent family. Oh, they were very capable, no question. Go look at all the murders they did. Or we're going to do besides. They're plotting to kill people all the time.
Alexander Wilson, $10 donation. Pete Lafraccio. How you say that name again?
Lafraccio, I'm going to say.
Okay. Recently was on a YouTube channel to talk about Center's release. He said he loves Roy, Testa, and Center. Did you have any interactions, and could you invite him to come on if possible?
You know what? The name escapes me. I don't know Pete. Did Pete flip? Was he a made guy? I never heard the name as far as being made. I could be wrong, but I had no clue.
Are you inviting him on your show?
Well, that's another thing. That we, there's a lot of people that want to come on the show, and they want me to go on their shows. I think right now, RJ, and we've discussed this among ourselves and with other content people, that we want to keep it more to us, exclusive to our people, than to go out there and be on other people's show. We have a show. So what am I going to say on that show that I can't say on my show? Or bring somebody on my show when they have their own show? What are they going to say? I think every time we're pretty much free-flowing. And a lot of stuff, as you know, comes out of my mouth you never heard. And I'd rather have, it may be a little selfish, but I'd rather keep it to ourselves right now, with the people, especially on Patreon, that pay, and the YouTube subscribers we have, 22,000 almost, right? That I think they should get the exclusive before I do it somewhere else. Again, it may be a little selfish, but I'm thinking about our group. Like anybody else would do. This is our family. Everybody's going to think about their family. I'm not going to say, we're never going to knock another guy. Only one guy we knock. Because he's a liar. So lie a lot. But everybody else, we wish them luck. And, behind the scenes, how many phone calls you get And I get on the phone with people behind the scenes off the record, and I help them out. And so do you. So it's not that we shut people out. It's just that I think we own this. You're loyal to us, our fan base, and I think we need to give you all the stuff that we need to give you first before anybody else. Full exclusive.
Yeah, I agree. So we kind of just do it. It's never. We are supporters of every channel. We just like to do our show and say if we can help you in some way with sharing the show or helping you or whatever, then we'll do that. But we try to just keep our show our show.
And Ajay, you can say this too. We've got a lot of stuff. Not that I'm the know-it-all of all this, but when people know, other content makers know that this is my niche, this is what my expertise area, they'll call and ask for a fact check. Like somebody I asked for the list the day I got straightened out. They had it wrong, but whatever they got the information was wrong. We obliged them by giving them the correct facts. We didn't want them to stub their toe or make a mistake, or then we come on and we mock them for making a mistake. No, we're not about that. If we can help you on those factoids that are out there already, we'll help you out. No problem.
What was your relationship with your father?
With my father? Yeah. I didn't know my father called Mikey. That's news to me. Maybe Mikey said that, but I'm not sure. Maybe I missed that. Could be. Could very well be. Look, when I made that decision to cooperate, I was really, really concerned about my father and how he was entrenched in that life, even though he wasn't made, and his beliefs about that life and about cooperators, etc. And I had a message come up after he had heard, because he came from Florida, he came up to New York when he heard the news, what happened. And he was really upset. And I didn't know that. This is the message that I was getting. To tell Michael, do what he's got to do. What are you worried about? They turn your back on you. And my father seen it differently, which I was stunned. He would even say, I didn't believe it. I made Madeline tell me that again and again to make sure you're sure you're not just telling me this. No, if you get on the phone with your father, he'll tell you the same thing, which I wasn't allowed to get on the phone with my father. I got one phone call a month, and it was to Madeline. But that was his. It broke his heart, but also what hurt him, he lost one son in the street for a lie, and he wasn't going to lose another one. That's what he told me later on. For being in his words, being railroaded. That's old school word.
Alexander Wilson, another question here. In Phil Leonetti's book, After Paul's Death, Phil and Scarfo met with Gotti, and Gotti said he got permission for the kill. Phil used that in his testimony for the grand jury. Why did Gotti tell them?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to push back on Phil if he said that. I wasn't there to confirm or deny that. I'd be stunned because John Gotti, as we know, says maybe the cops killed Paul. Who the hell knows who killed Paul? In that many words. For him to tell anyone else, don't forget, they don't even talk about it on tape in the apartment. Ever. Right? Except for who killed him. We don't know who killed Paul.
The cops killed him. That's what John said. The
Right.
cops killed him. That yellow belly fish out of water.
Yeah. So when it comes to telling Scarfo and Leonetti, if Phil says it happened, it happened. I can't contradict that. But to me, my analysis is I don't think he did.
Jeff Nadeau was here. He donates $20. Says always a great show. Thanks for the stories and the content.
Jeff, good luck with your new Patreon, and we'll be there to support you. And we're gonna, whatever you charge, we'll be there.
Yeah, someone asked the question: have we ever had the issue of what Jeff has? No, we've had demonetization issues on individual shows at times. YouTube can be difficult. I mean, Jeff's right on that. But no, I've never seen what happened to Jeff happen. I never saw an entire show deplatformed like that. I mean, that's astounding to me. So no, I've never seen that.
And I feel bad for the guy because there's no recourse, and he does put out some great stuff. I mean, he's a polarizing figure, right? When he does a show, but that's him. That's his stick. Yeah. But he stays on point with what he does, and he's just another guy. He's so lost for the YouTube community because I know he has a big following, and it's a loss for him and them and the people that want to hit Jeff because he does have a big following.
Yeah. Yep, Jeff will be supporting you, brother. $5 donation. Michael, did you guys have specific bail bondsmen that the family used, or was it every family for himself when it comes to bonding out of jail?
Joey, most guys, there's no bail. There's no bail. When it comes to organized crime, bail's a tough thing to get unless there's really no violence. And there's guys even with no violence that have a hard time getting bail. Eastern District, you got a shot. Southern District, just get extra socks. They're staying around.
$20 donation. Michael, in your Trevor McDonald interview, when you were driving through the village, you saw two guys, but you didn't say their names. Oh, okay. I know he's talking about, because I was wondering that too. You saw two guys when you were in the Trevor McDonald interview. You said those were, I think, two Lucchese guys.
Yeah.
But you didn't say their names. I guess he's asking, who are they? What are their names? Did you ever tell me? I don't even think I know. Okay.
I still don't tell.
Guys, trying to get Michael to talk about anything that has to do with anyone who's alive, suspected of active, anything. It's almost, even for me over the phone, it's not that easy. So, all right. $5 donation from German. Thank you. Hi, was wondering if you would please answer me a burning question. Are the American Mafia affiliated with the 'Ndrangheta from Calabria? Or are those the Zips?
Yeah, Calabria. Yeah, there's always been some type of relationship going back, commingled stuff, businesses, and I really can't speak on what's going on in the last 20 years because I'm off the street, so I really don't know. I read a lot of news from Italian news, what goes on there just for general information for myself, but things you pull out of the news, I'm not going to comment because that's somebody else writing about their opinion with it or a fact that's there, and I'd rather not answer that for people that are out there today, if you don't mind. Also, all the people that are donating, we really appreciate it. But if you really want to do something with that money, sign up on Patreon or sponsor somebody if you are a Patreon member already. Give somebody a nice gift. $10 is a great gift. I know there's a lot of $20 donations came in. But I'd rather have you, if you can, Najee, can I speak for you also on this?
Absolutely.
Sign up on Patreon. Sign up on Patreon. Interact there. Because I see the way you're coming on here and you're happy and you appreciate what we're doing there by giving us money. But I'd rather have you do it by helping somebody else that's interested in this subject and let them get involved with us also. So we really appreciate that. As a matter of fact, there was times we turned off the donation button because we didn't want to have make this like a
cash grab,
a charitable event. Trying to put the right words in there. I know other people do. Gravatt on the rest of them. He looks for that $5. Remember the $4.99 special? We gave him an extra penny. We gave him $5.
Where's your bucket? Do you have it?
Yeah, it's right in that corner.
Can we see it?
You want to see mine? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
See, you're making me start again. I was behaving.
Yeah, I'm going to get the blame now. Everyone's going to blame me for starting stuff. I'm not starting. We're just trying to have some fun.
Let me sit down here. This is his helmet. See, where's the name?
Right there.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. What's it say? Oh, Scammy. Yeah, I spelled it right. That's right. And that's the $4.99 special. Right? This is his bucket. This is collection bucket. He needs this.
Oh my God.
I was promising myself to stay away from this guy today.
Can we do? Can I get one?
No, see, you got me itchy right away.
$5 donation. Hey, Michael, who was the richest wise guy? Patsy Conti, Carmine Lamedosa, Tommy Gambino, or Joe the Cat?
Well,
or was there someone else?
No, that's like a tie. I'm going to say Tommy. And why? I'll give you the reason why. Tommy had a lot of legitimate stuff, real estate, major real estate. Carmine, you can't sell him short either. The guy had, I think, 2 Rolls Royces, one for him and one for his wife. Legitimate that he drove around. Besides every other car that just came out new. Carmine was a guy that you looked and says, "Oh, this guy's really a prince," you know, in that life. He spent his money, he enjoyed it. But I'm going to say Tommy. Patsy had the Key Foods and many other stuff, plus all the other things he did in life. And Jody Cat had major real estate too, but I don't think he got up to the point of Tommy.
All right. $20 donation. Michael, since the question about Michael's father came up, maybe that would be the rest of my 3 questions to elaborate on. This is the best freaking way to spend the Sunday when the wife and kiddos are away. Thank God. Thanks, guys. Guess just a statement.
Drew, thank you for being there. Very appreciated it.
Michael, if you could guess one person that you made laugh about that bucket, one, who do you think it is out of all of our commenters?
And all our you mean even if they're not here?
All the people here, who do you think laughed the hardest? Look on the screen.
Joe LaFranchi. Oh, Joy Frost. Hey, Joy. How's everything? Happy Sunday to you. Joy, you wearing your apron?
We sent you an apron, Joy. Send in a picture of it. Let me see. It looks like this. Everyone else sounds like, we sell really unique stuff. No excuses, aprons.
I see the apron. I got hungry.
Send a picture, enjoy. Guys, very great live, very interactive. I was only planning on going an hour, but went a little bit over, but we'll let everyone go so you can go watch football. Thank you, guys. I guess Michael wants me to close the show out. Well, guys, thank you guys very much for all your continued support. If I could, I would thank every single person in the comment section. Hang on. What happened to you, brother? Say hi to everybody. Say hi. You're on my microphone.
What?
You jumped off. I'm still live.
Oh, really?
I'm live right now. Your screen went out, but I'm live and they can hear you talking.
Right now?
Right now, I'm going to say bye to everybody. But how about you say bye? Close the show out right here. Go ahead. They can hear it. You're not on, brother. You're on my phone. Talk. Say goodbye to everybody.
Well, have a great day. We come to the first quarter of the NFL for everybody. So have a great day. Hope everybody stays nuts. Don't double up at 4 o'clock if you close. God bless. Stay well. Keep smiling.
All right, brother. I'll call you after I'm going to close out and I'll give you a call. All right. Thank you, guys. No excuses. Peace and love. And we'll see you in the comment section.